Hello and welcome to a special conversation with Kalyan Chaubey, President of the All India Football Federation, and somebody who's been much talked about in recent times with what is going on, plus also the National Sports Bill. And that's very, very important because, being a politician, being associated with the IOA, being involved in the corridors of power, how does he look at the sports bill, which has just been passed by the two houses of parliament and will be an act once the Honorable President gives her signature on the bill? Kalyan, first things first, if I see the state of football and the number of legal cases there, not to mention all the other federations as well, the sports bill, which includes the sports tribunal, according to me, is a dire necessity. How do you look at the sports bill?
I think you very correctly said that, a formation of National Sports Tribunal will definitely help to minimize the litigation cost for the national sports federations. Like Indian Olympic Association, being the parent body of the country for all these sport, itself is party of nearly 350 court cases. In a country like India, wherever there's a faction, they lose election, they straight away go to the court and challenge the process of election. And thereafter some stay order or hearing after hearing, it goes on. So it definitely takes a lot of your cost on it. So imagine when you are talking about the athlete involvement in sports federation, imagine when we are talking about the athlete contribution towards the development of sports. And so we say the sports and the sportsman's development and promotion or the welfare, it requires money. So these crores of fund we are spending on the litigation, this can easily be utilized for the development and promotion of sports. I believe this is one of the area where the Sports Governance Act will greatly benefit for Indian sports.
If I can add a little bit to that, I mean, you have mentioned the cost aspect of it. I see the time aspect of it. Take football. I mean, your own sport. Your own sport. Today, we don't know whether or not the ISL will happen. That's a question I will ask you in a bit. I see football clubs stopping salaries, stopping players, this, that, whatnot. The whole point is the matter is under the apex court. Neither you nor anybody for that matter can do anything at this point because it is under the apex court. And the apex court has many other cases. Football or cricket or whatever it is will never be priority. So if the sports tribunal comes into being, which will now happen, whether it is football, whether it is cricket, whether it is volleyball, people can now go and seek remedy, seek redressal much quicker. Do you think that will make our sport much more transparent and much more athlete friendly?
Yes, Boria. Like we have 10 core sports when you say about football, cricket, volleyball, basketball, and others. 10 core sports are there. There are 23 other sports. So altogether, I'm sure your knowledge on Olympic sport is far better than anyone in India who is covering sports from now. So these 33 sports are there which participate in Olympic. So therefore, all these national sports federation comes under the Olympic statute or the charter. They will be benefited through this. And very well said, it is not only saving money, but it is also saving time. I think time is the most important matter for an athlete because the athlete's life is very limited, around 10 to 15 years maximum. And so for an athlete, 6 to 8 months means a season. So I'm sure this will definitely help a lot of athletes to save their time and all the National Sports Federation to save cost and time on the litigations.
Where do you stand on the age and tenure aspects? For example, now it is being said that Roger Binny can have another tenure because it can be raised to 75. Secondly, the whole cooling off structure has changed, and I think it is for the better because if somebody is doing a good job, to force him to go into a cooling off and then come back, you might want to disagree with that. So where do you stand on this whole national sports bill, age and tenure, and this whole cooling off, which will now come into being, which will allow even like someone like you, if you are doing a good job in your position, you can continue for a longer time with a relatively lesser cooling off. Where do you stand on that?
No, I think this age, 70 to 75 years, is a very welcome step and welcome decision. You see, we India, when the Prime Minister is dreaming to host Olympic 2036, and definitely you require a lot of international participation, representation. So to bring a sport in your country, to bring expertise of different sport in your country, you also need Indian to represent in the international bodies. Like as of till now, the president of OCA, Olympic Committee of Asia, is an Indian, Raja Ranveer Singh. You see, it is a matter of pride, and also it is a matter of your advantage. There are several things, it's handy information to a president's office of OCA. So therefore, imagine if, and you cannot reach at the age of 30, cannot reach at the age of 40. You need to be in sports for long, maybe 30, 40 years. Thereafter, you get that acknowledgement, that recognition to represent India into the international confederation bodies. So therefore, I believe the 70 to 75 years is a very important decision which this Sports Governance Act is addressing. And once this experienced people, they represent India into the international federation, that definitely bring a lot of advantage and benefit to Indian sport.
Final question on the sports bill before I move on to others. Coming to your sport, specifically, I know you're part of IOA as well, but coming to your core sport of football, how do you think it will benefit football?
It will benefit football in many ways. Like football is also part of this 33 national sports federation comes under the IOA charter, and it is all about athlete. So we say player. It's all about this sport. It is sport, and it's all about, and it also clarifies if there are any clauses which is differing with the NSF and the Government's Act. NSF will follow the international statute. So in the case of football, AIFF will follow the FIFA statute to run and govern football in India. So therefore, I believe this National Sports Act is equally beneficial and helpful for Indian football.
Interesting, you used the word act already. I was refraining from using the word act till the president signs, but you are right. I was using bill because now it has been passed by both houses and it is only a formality before it becomes act, which is law. But that was useful to understand a very strong perspective on the National Sports Act. Coming to football, Kalyan, the one question that everybody is asking: what is happening with the ISL? I know it might sound harsh to you, but people are getting deflated. People are feeling negative. I was in England covering cricket. A lot of people have messaged me saying, why don't you ask the president, will the tournament happen? It is our national league of sorts. Will the clubs play? What is your take? Give me a candid answer. Can we expect ISL this year? And if so, when?
No, I think on 7th of August, All India Football Federation's delegates, that including Vice President, Treasurer, Chairman Finance, Chairman League Committee, and the Deputy Secretary General, myself, we all met the representative of the 13 ISL club CEOs. I'm sure you must have seen that information. They are also the representative from our marketing rights partner. And we have spoken in detail about what can be done and what cannot be done at this moment, and what collectively can be done. So this every aspect we have discussed, mainly 5 points we discussed in that particular agenda in that meeting. And I am hopeful that league will or should take place. You say a country where football is so popular, and thousands of livelihoods are at stake, millions of fans, they follow this sport. It cannot have a year without a football. Yes, of course, there are some challenges, as you and I both know. And then I'm sure the people are there, not even in football system, but still they want for the national interest football to continue. So therefore, we'll take all the possible measures under the constitution, under the law of the land, and therefore we will see that this league must take place. I'm sure there are some hurdles at this moment, because you see there are two things which AIFF is not responsible for. One is that this constitution, it first has been filed in 2017, and its final judgment is expecting in 2025, right? This MRA signed on 2010. The renewal of MRA is coming on 2025. So both of these decisions are coincide in same year. And AIFF has nothing to do, nor you or not anyone has anything to do with this. But having said this, whatever is possible to do, AIFF will do. That can be assured, and we will leave no stone unturned that take league to happen this year.
Can we at this point in time even conjecture on a timeline, or is it premature to do so?
No, you see, like there is nothing new to speak post 26 April 2025 after the closing argument in the Apex Court. There's not much to say after the 7th August, what we said in the meeting with the AIFF and ISL club CEOs. And so therefore, let us speak among ourselves and collectively discuss to take it forward as per law of the land. And also, you see, recently this Ports Act passed yesterday and day before yesterday. We also need to understand that what would be, whether it is, connected or interlinked or anything of our current situation or not. We also need to understand through legal advice and legal counsels.
I think that's a fantastic point, because if the Sports Act comes into being and it becomes an act, this whole gamut of cases that are already there for speedy resolution, can it go to the sports tribunal? That is also something that you have to find out from your legal channels. That's a very, very valid point is what you make. Moving on to the final part of this interview, Kalyan, I know you've got another meeting. We now have an Indian national coach. So two questions: why and how did Khalid Jamil? Because for a long period we were seeing foreign coaches and we were seeing some good results, some bad. But Indian national team over a period has been under scrutiny. So why Khalid Jamil? How did you all zero in on Khalid Jamil and an Indian national coach?
You see, the process to select your national team head coach is the proposal must come from the technical committee. And technical committee is chaired by Padma Shri Arjuna Award winner I.M. Bijan. And then there are the Climax Lawrence, Shabir Ali is also Dhyan Chand Award winner, and two women player, Tababi Devi and Pinky Boman. Apart from these members, there are Shabir Pasha and Subroto Paul. Both of them, they are former national team player and they played a significant number of matches in their career. Subroto is also Arjuna Awadi. And then there were two invitee members, Armando Colasso and Bimal Ghosh. Both of them, they are Dronacharya Awadi, and they have a very successful coaching career in their club life. So these all 9 of them is a member of the technical committee. They have shortlisted out of 161 coaches. They decided, we know last 2 decades, Indian national team always opted for a foreign coach. But now collectively they are thinking it would be good to give an opportunity for an Indian coach. And a coach who has twice adjudged best coach of the year. So therefore, it is true that there are certain matches India should have won, could have won, but they couldn't do. And especially last 7 out of 8 matches, India either drawn or lost. So therefore, let us try someone who has homegrown from our country, who played the game, got success in club level. And unless you give him an opportunity to coach for national team, how can he improve? So therefore, it's a collective proposal came from this technical committee. The name of the members I have mentioned just now. Thereafter, there was a executive committee meeting, I believe, 1st of August this month. And in executive committee, all of these members were there, and there's a short analysis given. The 3 coaches were shortlisted, the two foreign coaches and 1 Indian coach. So short analysis has been given, and thereafter, the entire house, it is true, house always comes with a voting thing, but the majority of the house, they said, let us go with Khalid Jamil as a head coach of men's national team. So let's hope that Khalid proves well and make sure that Indian team must win matches under his coaching. That is what we all can pray and hope. I'll give you one small example. You don't have to go back long back. Currently, we are playing a tournament Durand Cup. Or maybe you take last year's goal scoring ability. You see that most of the teams, It is not a top team like ISL top team or I League top team. Even if you say Boroland, they won a match against Punjab FC last week, and the striker who scored a goal is a foreigner. So, like if clubs they don't sign Indian strikers, if the Indian players they don't get the match time, how can you develop your Indian strikers? So it is.
Well, this is a catch-22. How do you address this? Mohun Bagan will say, I want to win. East Bengal will say, I want to win. I will sign a foreigner. I have the money. How will you address this?
No, I mean, it is collectively you all have to discuss, and then we have to ensure that for the national interest, we have to ensure that how Indian player get match time. Like if an Indian player is playing attacking midfielder or wing half, and just match day -3, you call him in camp as per the FIFA window because you don't get a long camp nowadays. So you call him a camp and you ask him to play for number 9 or number 10. It's difficult for him also. He's been playing throughout the season in a different position. So I think this is one area that we all need to come and sit together, discuss for the national interest. That if you don't give match time to your Indian player, if you don't develop your Indian striker, who will score? And if Indian doesn't score, how can India win matches? So therefore, I think I've also mentioned somewhere that Indian club football is very popular. Indian club football is really popular. And I keep on saying this. You take it 1970 to 1995, all those tournaments, Durand, IFSL, DCM, Stafford, Bordoloi, Seth Nagji, you name a tournament, all the tournaments are very popular in domestic football. In 96, I League and National Football League started, NFL. All the clubs, they equally fought. They brought foreign players, foreign coaches. The corporate had come. Remember the Salgaonkar, Dempo, Sesa, ONGC, UB, all of Mahindra and Mahindra. So all of them. So it's a good football. JCT. Now is also the investment is there. The good corporates are there. Good players are there. But we need to have good Indian strikers also. So unless if you produce or create more match time for Indian strikers, it is difficult to expect that you want to win a match without developing a strikers. So I think we all need to sit together and discuss on it.
Last one, again, everybody, a lot of people will watch this interview, Kalyan. You also know. Just for every footballer and football fan, hand on heart, AIFA president, former player, football fan, how confident are you that these footballers, clubs are shutting shop, etc., saying no contracts, ISL, we don't know. Even Mohun Bagan and clubs like that are saying, oh, we will stop signing and all of that. How confident are you? Can you assure them that you will leave no stone unturned, like you said, to make sure that the league happens on time?
See, football is a team game, and in one that to travel long, you don't take a long step alone. You take many short steps with a team. So if all the stakeholders in Indian football, we all come together, and if we discuss that how we can develop Indian player to ensure that Indian national team win matches, and then definitely we ensure that Indian football grow. So without investment, not possible. So investors are required. So without a long-term development plan, not possible. So development plan is required. Match time is required. So for everything, what they are looking at a clarity for next 10 years or next 15 years, something like that. Because a league's marketing rights is getting end this year.
So they said that to me also. I spoke to them. They said that the same thing.
So that is true. And so we all need to come together and discuss on that. And I think the people who follow Indian football, they are aware of the current situation. It is nothing new. I mean, no one is saying, okay, for him it has happened, or maybe he can, rescue from this problem. No, it's not that. It has to be collective. I think collectively we can overcome this problem, and it is just a matter of time. I believe once we get a legal advice, we will act accordingly.
I'll end there, Kalyan Chaubey. Thanks for taking all the hard questions. Honestly, I asked every possible hard question of you, and you took them. That is most important. That people in positions of power should be give answers and take questions. You did that. I'll leave it to the viewers and the listeners to decide. But as I said, it was very, very good of you to take every possible question. Unscripted, I asked whatever I wanted to ask. Thank you very much for joining me. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.